I was running my JUnit course and I was talking to the students about parameterized tests using what's known as let me scroll up to the top here, a CSV source, comma separated values. And it turns out you can provide a text block. One of the new features that was added, I believe, in Java 14, I think, 15 at the latest, where you had a multi-line string available, and you could see that I pasted some code in here and I said, this code is supposed to run both lines of the text block as parameterized tests, but it's only running one of them. And I used the parameterized test with the CSV source. And if it only ran one. So first the AI assistant went, hey, wait a minute, it looks like your data sets are defined consistently, but your delimiter and quote character settings are redundant. Well, I knew that. That's true. Then it said the real issue seems to be your usage of local date directly in your data source, because the argument here is of type local date. There we go. So my argument's of type local date and I'm providing a string, and it complained about that and it said, yeah, try this instead, which put in a string as the argument and then parsed it. And notice, by the way, they got rid of my text block. It switched to an array, which I already knew how to do. So I said, okay, first, there's nothing wrong with providing a string to the local date parameter as long as it's in the proper ISO 8601 standard format. Secondly, you changed my text block to an array of strings, which I already know works. How do I get it to work with a text block? And it said, oh, you're absolutely right. As of JUnit Jupyter 5.7.0, a built-in implicit conversion of strings to java.time objects has been added, including local date. Concerning the usage of text blocks, this has been a known issue with JUnit 5. I'm like, it has? In JUnit's CSV source and value source, text block strings are read as a single string argument. This is because the new line characters are retained, so it's reading your two lines as a single test. The current workaround is to replace the new line with a sequence of characters that will not appear in the string, and then use that as a line separator. So notice they threw in a dash dash end here, if you can see that, and then said line separator equals. And I'm like, okay, I've never heard of that. So I put it in the code, and of course I had to tell it there is no property of CSV source annotation called line separator. So it went, oh, I apologize for the confusion earlier. Yes, you do. You're absolutely right. There is no line separator property. To get the text block working as expected, you could insert explicit new line characters to split the string to two lines. You can see they've embedded a \n into my string. And oh, by the way, we're back to an array of strings again. Took out my text block. So it says, yeah, as of JUnit 5.7 onwards, the single backslashes should not be doubled in text blocks, which it's no longer using. I apologize for the confusion. Hope this resolves it. And I said, you went back to an array again, and I want to use a text block. Oh, apologize one more time for the misunderstanding. You're correct. Text blocks handle the new line character differently. Here's how you can use text blocks. And notice what it did. It went to a freaking method source where it passed in, here's the method, provide test arguments, and put in the text block and split it at the line delimiter and then mapped it. It's like, are you out of your mind? At any rate, in this example, I'm using a method source instead of a CSV source. This method, blah, blah, blah. And I'm realizing, okay, I give up. It's totally wrong. It has no idea what it's doing. And that's typical if you're not doing something you've done a million times before. You know what the right answer is? Here's the right answer. In CSV source, there's a parameter called text block. I was putting in value equals because I didn't realize there was a text block parameter. I just changed it to text block, and now this test runs just fine. I mean, I could execute it. And you see, yep, ran both lines. Jean-Luc Picard, William Riker, parsed it, no problem. Now, of course, this is obvious in both the documentation and in the Java docs. I just misread it. But so the real trick is to RTFM, as they say, read the frickin' manual, which I did. In fact, here, this is the manual section on CSV source right here. And this is a CSV source with an array, but I think it even says somewhere in here, using a text block, the previous example can be implemented as follows. use headers in display name, and text block equals. So, if I just read it,